Now, let's take a look at what Jesus said here. It's in Acts 1 and verse 6. It says, when they therefore will come together, they asked him. Now, this was after, let's see, now this was after Christ had been resurrected. He appeared unto his disciples again on several occasions. But they asked him, they said, saying, Lord, will you at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? Now, these men they were not disillusioned. They had no misunderstanding about what that kingdom was. I mean, they didn't go around thinking, well, maybe the kingdom of God is within you, and maybe it's already here, and or maybe the kingdom of God is a story about Jesus. No. These disciples were would-be revolutionaries. They were ready for Christ to overthrow the Roman government and set up his government, the kingdom of God, Christ as King of Kings and Lord of Lords, to set up that government right then and there. That's what they wanted. They were ready for action. They were would-be revolutionaries. They didn't know, and neither did Jesus tell them, that they would have to die. They would live out their life, die, and it would be some 2,000 years before Christ returned his second coming to this earth. He didn't tell them that, and it's probably a good thing, because they were ready for action right then and there. Now, there's 4 things that a kingdom consists of. First of all, you got to have a king. Well, who's the king? Hey, it's Jesus Christ, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. That's the first thing you got to have a kingdom. The second thing you got to have a kingdom is territory, a place to rule, and that's planet Earth. The third thing you got to have are subjects, and that's people to rule over. Plenty of them on earth. And the fourth thing you got to have is laws to establish that kingdom, that government of God on this earth. The laws, well, they're the 10 Commandments. So these 4 things is what you got to have a kingdom. You got to have a king, you got to have territory, you got to have subjects, and you got to have laws. Notice what Jesus said in John 18 and verse 36. Now, this was before when he was tried, before his crucifixion. He's being tried by Pilate. And Pilate asked him about, are you a king? And Jesus answered and said this. He said, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered unto the Jews. But now is not my kingdom not from hence. In other words, what Jesus is saying is now is not the time. Now is not the time for me to be King of Kings. Now is not the time to take over the territory right here, planet Earth. Now is not the time for me to rule over all the subjects on the earth, people. And now is not really the time for my law to be established in the way that I want it to be established on earth. Now is not the time. My kingdom is not of this world.